Hi guys, welcome back. This is Professor Hank, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about climate change. A little bit about climate change. It seems like a good time, since the state's on fire. The pandemic is important in the short term, absolutely no doubt, but compared to what's coming with climate change, it doesn't matter at all. Not at all. And so, I just felt like I wanted to talk about climate change and specifically why we're screwed. We're just absolutely positively screwed. And I'm convinced it's too late. There's nothing we can really do about it. And I'm going to tell you why here. And before going further, if you're one of those people who, thinks that, climate change is, it's a bunch of made up stuff, it's just scientists made it up. It's a giant global conspiracy, so that way they can make some of that sweet, sweet grant money or whatever. This video is not for you. This video is not for you. You can go ahead and stop watching now. Move on. You're on the same level as people who think that vaccines cause autism or that the Earth is flat. I mean, just go away. Okay, this video is not for you. I agree with the governor on this.
But I quite literally have no patience for climate change deniers.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just go away. So let me go ahead and talk to you about, let me get into it here. Right. So here's the thing. Okay, we've got a problem, right? Obviously, but we're dealing with two competing forces that make this an intractable problem, right? So you already know about CO2 being released in the air, right? That's in the news. Everybody knows about that, right? I mean, if you look at a graph, the hockey stick, the CO2 level goes up, average global temperature tracks right behind it perfectly. I mean, that's locked in. We know about the fact that this is the highest global average temperature that the human species has ever endured in 300,000 years or whatever. Right? We know that we're locked in on the worst case scenarios from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's pathways. Right? It's really, really, really bad. Okay, but here's the thing. We can't stop burning fossil fuels. And you're kind of like, what did he say? What do you mean we can't go stop burning fossil fuels? What are you talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked, and I'm going to explain it to you. Right? So, maybe, all right, so you know about burning CO2, right? We know about how that works, okay? We know that if you burn CO2, it goes in the atmosphere, traps in the radiation, fine, we're screwed, right? But here's what you don't always hear about, okay? So due to industrial activity, in other words, burning of fossil fuel, dirty coal, driving your car, whatever, okay? There's factories burning fossil fuel, and smoke rises up from the factories, right? You've all seen those pictures. Okay, now what these factories emit are these tiny particles, and they are called aerosols. Okay, aerosols. Okay, and these aerosols will cause pollution, right? Air pollution. Okay, and we've been burning fossil fuels for what, 150 years now or something, since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. Well, these aerosols have been collecting in the atmosphere for 100 plus years. Okay, so here's what they do. Okay, here's what the science says. Okay, these aerosols form a shield. Okay, you got the sun, and the solar radiation is coming down to Earth. Okay, And what these aerosols do is they reflect some of the radiation back into space. Kind of like the albedo in the Arctic of ice, right? Reflecting radiation back. So what's been happening is that these aerosols, which we put up into the atmosphere due to the burning of fossil fuels, has actually been shielding us from the sun's radiation, right? They're forming a type of shield. Okay. Now, if we keep burning fossil fuels, more CO2 goes into the atmosphere, right? And CO2 traps the radiation, causing the planet to warm up, right? But there's all this radiation that's not making it to the surface and not getting trapped because the aerosols are bouncing them back to space, right? Reflecting them back. It's like an umbrella. Okay, now what happens if you stop burning fossil fuels? Okay, what happens if you stop burning fossil fuels is these aerosols are no longer being placed back up into the atmosphere. These aerosols start falling out of the atmosphere, leaving the CO2 behind. Okay, so now all of that radiation, which was being reflected back, isn't being reflected back anymore, and it's getting trapped. Okay, so if we stop burning fossil fuels, those aerosols fall out of the sky very quickly. Okay, and once they're out of the sky, they stop protecting us, and so the Earth heats up even faster. Okay, now we've known about this effect since I think it was the 1950s or so. Okay, and there's a study that was done right after 9/11. Okay, and this is gonna sound old. This isn't about contrails and all that stupid BS. Okay, but scientists did a study and they wanted to know what the impact was of downing, when all the planes were out of the sky and they were no longer throwing up their their aerosols from the jet exhaust, right? Just on that one day. As it turns out, they took measurements all over the world and found that the Earth, within a couple days, heated up substantially, right? So we're talking like a full degree Celsius global average temperature in like a couple days. Okay, and you can read about this online. Now you have to be careful when you search for anything, right? Because this sounds like crazy stuff. You can find sources that are nuts. And so what I did was to get you started, if you're interested in reading about this more, is I tried to find some reputable sites. Go to Huffington Post, and there's an article, "What is global dimming?" So, this phenomena is known as global dimming, aerosol masking effect. Here's an article from 2011, but it does give you the overview of it. So, talking about 1950s, there's some studies, and it also mentions the study on 9/11. Okay, so there's a marked rise in air temperature. Okay, attributed to the grounding of these airplanes, and that was a jump of over 1 degree Celsius, just from airplanes not flying anymore. Okay, Wikipedia, global dimming. If you scroll down, you can see relationship to global warming. Some scientists now consider the effects of global dimming having significantly masked the effect of global warming, and that resolving global dimming may therefore lead to increase in future temperature rise. Okay, so we lived in global warming plus a global dimming world, and now we're taking out global dimming. So you're going to get the global warming world, which will be much worse than we thought it will be, much hotter. Okay. Rolling Stone, more recent magazine or article published on the was it the 2018 talks about this, right? And this is talking about our surplus of aerosols. Okay, so the thing is that a recent study published in the journal Geophysical Research Letters says that the cooling effect of aerosols is so large that it is masked as much as half the warming effect from greenhouse gases. Half. Right, so we're already roughly 2 degrees Celsius over the 1750 baseline. Okay, so you take away global dimming, aerosol masking effect, we're at 3C. Okay. Now, I was talking to a student of mine about this one time, and because like I said, I obsess about this stuff. I think climate change is the greatest event in the history of humankind, really, because this is the potential to end everything. And we're talking about this right before COVID-19 hit, and I was pointing this out that countries are going to be shutting down their economies, and the average, if this holds up within weeks, month or two, few months, you're going to start seeing record temperatures. You're going to start seeing temperatures just go crazy because China shut down its 25% of its economy. India, Europe shut down a ton of its. United States, right? So where are we at? So a quick DuckDuckGo search. Let's look at some of the headlines. This is officially Phoenix's hottest summer on record. Record summer temperatures across New England. 2020 was the hottest summer on record for dozens of U.S. cities. Scientists predict scorching temperatures lasting. Record high average temperatures. Summer 2020, the hottest on record. Warmest summer on record in Burlington. It's official. This summer was the hottest ever recorded. Melting weather records in August. And that's from Fox News of all places. Etc., etc., etc. Hey, sunshine, I told you. So it basically boils down to keep burning fossil fuels and we fry from CO2. Stop burning fossil fuels and we fry from the planet heating up even faster because we lose the shielding effect, which in that published article in the peer-reviewed journal said at least they were counting on, or they were figuring, or they calculated that half of global warming's effects have been masked, right? So I don't see any way out from it. I'll leave the links to those articles, to those sites, in the comments section below in case you want to read it. Something to think about.